I'm Cookie, and welcome back to another episode of the Untold Origins, the series where I talk about the backstories of one or multiple minor characters from my series Legends. Today, I'll be talking about a large group of characters called the Singing Wolves, a band made up entirely of wolves. Now, unlike with the Seven Princesses, where I split up the characters into multiple videos, I'll be talking about all 6 members of the band in this video since their backstory is pretty much the same. Instead, at the end, I will go into more details about each individual character. With that being said, let's get started. In the south side of the evergreen forest, Lexi gave birth to 3 pups, Flora, Lola, and Destiny. Not too long later, her good friend Clover also had her pups, Siren and Flora. It wasn't long before all the pups were mingling with each other, to the point where most of the members of the pack considered them to be part of the single litter. Lexi and Clover would often take turns watching the pups, while the other rests, socializes with other members of the pack, or goes hunting. However, one day when Clover was out on a hunting trip, there was an accident and she died. Siren, Flare, and Clover's mate, Mint, were all devastated by her death, and soon, Mint started distancing himself from his pups. Lexi didn't hesitate to take in Siren and Flare, and continued to raise them alongside her other pups. To help cope with their mother's passing, she would howl to the moon. Lexi, what are you doing? I'm howling to your mother, so she can find us and see how you both are doing. Wow, your howls are so pretty. Lexi was known to be one of the best howlers in her pack, finding enjoyment in singing. This hobby of hers quickly spread to the pups, who also quickly became good singers. Siren and Destiny were especially good at it. All they wanted to do was sing, but according to the alpha, singing scared off prey, and it wasn't that useful to the pack. So as the pups grew up, they learned the necessary skills they needed to survive. However, they never lost their calling to music. So one day, Siren had enough of staying in the pack and wanted to follow her heart. Of course, most of the pack mocked her, but Flare, Flora, Lola, Lexi, and Destiny had her back. They all made the decision to leave. Lexi's mate Venus and their good friends Time, Cove, and Ebony also decided to go with them. They formed a new pack without an alpha and traveled to Melodic Shores, a village which they had heard about from other animals that was known for its music. To avoid scaring the locals, only Siren, Lexi, and Ebony decided to explore, to see if they can find anything helpful. While exploring, they met a stray cat named Socks, who was curious as to why 3 wolves just wandered into town. They explained why they were there, which caused her to mock them. So let me get this straight. You and your friends, a pack of wolves, want to sing to everyone? Yeah, I know it sounds strange, but I know it's our calling. Yeah, just like how it's my calling to go cloud jumping. After some back and forth, Socks agreed to take them to someone who might be interested in helping them. She takes them to what seemed like an abandoned barn. There, an old werecat was inside cleaning. He noticed Socks and warmly greeted her before seeing the wolves, though he was not afraid from them. Siren explained the situation and was pleased to see that the old werecat was not weirded out by their request. He started helping the wolves practice, teaching them everything they needed to know about music. During this, Flare found a worn-out guitar and started trying to play it. This gave the others an idea to also start playing some instruments. Lola took up the drums, Lexi learned the piano, and Flora also learned the guitar. Siren and Destiny, meanwhile, decided to stick to only using their voices. They also learned how to use their magic to enhance their performances, whether it was using it to play their instruments or add a visual spectacle. Meanwhile, Venus, Time, Cove, Ebony, and Socks learned how to provide support as stage crew. Once they were happy with their performance, they decided on the name of the band and who was their leader. After some brainstorming, they settled on the name The Singing Wolves. As for their leader, Lexi knew exactly who should be in charge: Siren. But Lexi, you introduced me to music. I wouldn't be here without you. No, we wouldn't be here if you didn't take this chance, if you didn't follow your heart. That's what makes a good leader, Siren. Flare, Flora, Lola, and Destiny all trusted in Siren's capability to lead, so she graciously accepted it. Soon, they started doing some performances. At first, people were weirded out by a pack of wolves singing, but eventually, they became drawn to it. Despite being wolves, the talent was there. The singing wolves became very popular over the years, and now they travel the world performing concerts, living out the dream they all shared. Now for some more specific details about each member. Siren is an odd one in her pack. Once she was introduced to music, she practically could not stop singing, much to the annoyance of her pack. But she never was the kind to stop pursuing her passions just because someone told her to. While she's not singing, she can actually be quite quiet and shy. Outside of the other singing wolves, she's the closest with Cove, who would become her mate. She also has water magic, using it to create illusions and displays during concerts. Her youngest sister, Flora, is very loud, bold, and mischievous. Her best friend, Flora, will tag along in any antics she has. She also doesn't mind talking back to anyone who tells her not to sing, especially Mint. Before she left, she will often argue with him, calling him out for basically abandoning her and Siren. She does have an affectionate side, which is most often shown when she's with her mate, Time. Flare uses fire magic, creating bright lights during concerts. Because of how hazardous her powers can be, they get used the least during concerts. Flora is very similar to Flare, since they spend a lot of time with each other, though she is more tame. When she gets told off for singing, she would roll her eyes and pretend to promise to not do it again. Flora enjoys singing to calm others down, just like her mother did. She uses nature magic. Unlike how Flare uses her paws to play the guitar, Flora uses vines, allowing her to have more mobility. This is especially important as her powers are used quite often to create flowers for the audience and falling petals. Lola is the quietest of the group, partly because for the longest time, she felt insecure about her tiny wings that she's unable to fly with. She struggled the most to learn how to sing and sometimes feels doubt on her capabilities, but she still put in the effort to practice. She mostly sang away from her packmates to avoid any confrontations. She is much more social around her friends and joins in when they are singing in front of everyone. Despite this, Lola is happy playing on the drums, so her friends could do most of the singing instead. She has ice magic, which she uses to create icicles that Flora and Lexi can reflect light off of. Lexi had always enjoyed singing since she was a pup. Her mate Venus and her friend Clover would encourage her to sing despite the rest of the pack's annoyance. She couldn't imagine that her love of singing would be passed down on her pups and their friends, and she couldn't believe that they would become known to the whole world. Despite being the oldest, she is happy having the younger wolves lead, while she provides backup with the piano. Lexi has earth magic, and specifically specializes in gemstones, using them to reflect different colors of light. Destiny is considered to be the singing wolf's miracle pup. She is a dwarf, and most wolves thought she wouldn't survive. But she proved everyone wrong, and now sings every day to show how grateful she is for everyday life. She never lets her size stop her, and faces problems with little to no fear. Destiny loves flying around, and decided to now learn an instrument so she can fly above the audience to sing. She has air magic, and uses it to become one with the wind, allowing her to quickly zip around during concerts. So that's all I have for this video. Make sure to comment below what you thought of the backstory. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye!